Welcome, everyone, to the Joy of Pixels podcast for Thursday, July 30th. This is a little bit of a special episode. I'm recording this on Thursday instead of Friday, and I am all by myself today. Akko was not able to join us, but we are just going to do a little flying solo today. We're just having a short little version of the podcast because I have a special stream that I'm going to be doing on Friday. So I still wanted to do a little something for you guys. So we're just going to jump in and talk about a few games that I've been playing. And then we have a few game releases that I will mention. And then just a couple of news items. And then we also have a question. I think what I want to start doing is having at least one kind of question of the week, so to speak, for the podcast. And I thought that this would be fun to do. So we're going to start out with a question that DeCellis wrote in and asked about. And he said, do you have a favorite game trailer? He said, I really like Evil Within 2 reveal trailer. It's got a ton of great imagery, cinematics exclusive to the trailer itself, and an amazing song on top of that. I even go back to watch it. After playing the game, it was that good. So I would love for you guys to think about that, and you can either put it in chat or maybe leave a comment on the YouTube version of this, or just post it in Discord or tweet at me, wherever. I would be curious to hear about that. So let's go ahead and jump into what I've been playing. I've been playing a little bit more Ghost of Tsushima. I feel like I am still very torn on that game. Artistically, it is one of the most beautiful games I think I've ever seen. It is just fantastic how beautiful that game is. I talked a little bit about this last week, that I don't think it's as good from like a technical point of view as something like The Last of Us, but from an artistic point of view, it is just stunning. The gameplay is where it's still kind of yet to really grab me, particularly the combat. I feel like the combat is all over the place. Some people say like the combat is super easy. Some people, myself included, feel like I wouldn't even say it's hard. It's just like it's not really balanced well, or it's not really I don't know, it's just not really clicking with me right now. It feels like they were kind of wanting to go for a little bit of a Souls-esque type combat, but there's no lock-on, and so that, really forces me to struggle with the controls. And the biggest problem that I'm having with it is just getting swarmed by a bunch of enemies all at once. And whenever that happens, then I'm just like super overwhelmed and can't take on more than 2 or 3 enemies at one time. Whenever it's like a one-on-one, there's been a few kind of, I guess, mini bosses that are just more like a one-on-one fight, and I honestly really, really like those. I wish that the combat was more centered around like just dealing with 1 or maybe 2 enemies at a time. And I did have someone comment in the Discord. Brian commented that he said that he was struggling with it a little bit as well. And he was trying to kind of adjust his play style to where he, was only pulling a couple of people at a time. And I think that's probably the way to go. I just need to, need to get into that a little bit more. So yeah, I'm still playing that. I'm still enjoying it, but I'm still waiting for it to like really grab me. I'm still going through Deus Ex Human Revolution. That game, on the other hand, is just fantastic. Everything about that game I love. The story is super interesting. The gameplay is really, really fun. The world, the characters, everything is super fun. I'm also still continuing on The Surge 2. That game, man, it has some major difficulty spikes. I feel like after each boss, like there's a huge difficulty spike. And it's also really, really long. I thought it was getting close to the end, but apparently I've still got a little ways to go. So I'm still playing through that. I'm still enjoying it for the most part, but really kind of struggling at the end because of a big difficulty spike. But that is about all I've been playing. I did play another really small game called Goa. I don't know if anybody else has played this game. It's a really interesting puzzle game. It's on Steam. I think it might be on Switch and a couple of other platforms. You have kind of a. It looks like it was originally a mobile game, maybe, but you have 4 tiles, and each tile is kind of a puzzle in and of itself. It's like a almost like a painting, and then on some of the tiles you can zoom in and out, and you can interact with some things on the painting. For example, there was like a painting or like a picture of a doorway, and then you could move that tile over to where a little guy could walk through the doorway, and then you could zoom out, and it would zoom out further to like a bigger picture of a world where you would have to interact with the tiles and do something with those again. And I think it's an interesting concept, but it was just, I don't know, I didn't really feel like there was a lot of logic to it. I felt like I was just kind of clicking on the tiles and just trying to figure out what was going on, just hoping that I would kind of find the solution. So I didn't really enjoy it as much as I was hoping that I would. But it's a cool game nonetheless. We have a couple of game releases that I want to mention that are coming up this week. We have Fall Guys, which comes out August 4th. This this kind of came out of nowhere. This is also going to be free on PlayStation Plus. It's a cool kind of multiplayer game where I think there's 60 opponents, and they're all kind of racing, kind of like a battle royale type game. Last person alive wins, but it looks like there's more like races and puzzles and those kind of things that you do. So I'm interested to try it out. I think it could be a fun game to play with friends. Hellbound is also coming out for PC on August 4th. That they had a free version of this that I think was multiplayer a couple of years ago, but it's developed into a single player. It's like an old school Doom type game. It actually looks pretty good. I'm kind of interested in checking that out. We also have Fast and Furious Crossroads. Anybody excited for that? I remember this was revealed. This was like their one last thing at the Game Awards last year, and it was so bizarre. Vin Diesel and Michelle Rodriguez, is that her name, came out and announced this game, and it looks really bad. I mean, it looks like a last gen, like a PS3, Xbox 360 game. Some of the graphics look a little bit better, but a lot of like the facial animations just looked really bad, and it was such a bizarre announcement. So I'm curious, if nothing else, just to see how that game reviews. Who knows? Maybe it'll be really fun. Horizon Zero Dawn is also releasing on PC on August 7th. So I know there's a lot of people really excited about that, myself included. I just replayed Horizon Zero Dawn earlier this year, and I'm sure I will replay it at some point, and look forward to playing it again on PC. That is about it as far as games releasing. So let's move on. I've got just a couple of news topics that I pulled. Animal Crossing received an update, and they finally added save backups now, which everybody was wanting these, and it's just bizarre to me that Nintendo doesn't offer this, especially since you're now paying for online, and one of the services of Nintendo Online is supposed to be backups for your game. But the way it works is really strange. It's not just like a cloud save backup. They say that it will just kind of occasionally back up your island. They don't really explain like how this works or anything. And then they say that if you need to get it back, you have to contact Nintendo support. Nintendo just continues to be very weird. They also said that you will be able to transfer your island from one Switch to the another if you buy a new Switch, or if your Switch breaks or something like that. So I think that's pretty cool, but it's still just so strange how they're handling that. Let's see. Hideo Kojima. There's been some news about his next game. There's a bunch of rumors, a bunch of leaks about this, but he has apparently been talking to oh man, I don't know how to pronounce this. Junji Ito, is that how you say it? In about working on a new horror game. I think everybody has been wanting Hideo Kojima to work on a horror game ever since we got PT, which released back in, I think it was 2014, which was supposed to be Silent Hills that Kojima was working on. Drunk Possum is saying, so next Kojima in 2025. You joke about that, but he and his team made Death Stranding within like 3 years. It's kind of bizarre how quick the turnaround time for Death Stranding was. Especially because, you would typically hear like Kojima just takes so long to make his games and always way over budget and all of that stuff. But it seems like they really made Death Stranding really, really quick. So who knows? Maybe it's, 1 to 2 years away. That would be pretty cool. Let's see. Ghost of Tsushima continues to sell extremely well. It sold 2.4 million in 3 days. It's the fastest selling new IP for this generation. It's a little confusing because it's not like the fastest selling PS4 game, but it's the fastest selling new IP, which beat out Horizon Zero Dawn in 2017, which sold 2.6 million copies in its first few weeks. So congratulations to the guys over at Sucker Punch. Let's see. Sekiro, Shadows Die Twice, received a kind of a weird update. They received a new update, or sorry, they haven't received it yet, but they announced a new update. It's going to be releasing October 29th, and they're adding in a couple of really cool things. So they're adding in what they are calling Reflection of Strength / Gauntlet of Strength. And what that will allow you to do is rematch previously defeated bosses in single and consecutive battles. So it's basically like a boss rush mode. After you beat a boss, you'll be able to go back to what do they call it? An idol or a shrine. And you'll just be able to choose whatever boss you want to fight, and you can just go right to them and fight them. So I think that's pretty cool. You'll also be able to customize Wolf's appearance. There's going to be 3 different types of, they say 3 new forms. I'm not really sure what that means. I guess different outfits that you'll be able to choose. And then perhaps the most interesting thing is they're adding something called Remnants, which will send a recording of your actions to the world of other shinobi. Remnant recordings can be up to 30 seconds long and may be affixed with a message. Share strategies and hints via network to broaden the scope of the play. So basically, they're adding the Dark Souls, Bloodborne messages into the system, which is a thing that I think a lot of people kind of missed. The Dark Souls games, even if you played them single player, like they always still had this kind of communal aspect where you would get messages and things like that. And I thought it was a really cool thing to, just what I would always do is I would play through a Souls game offline the first time, not get any messages, not get any hints, but then play through it again, and you get all the messages and you see like all the ghosts running around, and it's almost like a whole new game because you can kind of interact with other people through messages and seeing their ghosts and find hints and secrets and all kinds of interesting things like that. So it's kind of a strange update that it's coming so late in the game's life. This is, going to be like almost a year and a half after that game originally released. they announced beforehand that they weren't going to be doing any DLC. So it's kind of a weird surprise that we're just getting not really DLC, but just kind of a new big update for that. But hey, any reason to go back to Sekiro is a good reason for me. Let's see. Cuphead got a kind of a surprise launch on PS4 a couple of days ago. So Cuphead was the crazy hard, kind of cartoony art style platformer that was on Microsoft platforms. It was also on Switch, and they just all of a sudden said, "Hey, this is coming to PS4," and it launched on PS4 for $19.99. I think that's pretty cool. That game's been doing very well. Not a game for me, but I know a lot of people enjoy it. I want to just briefly kind of mention the Nintendo leaks because there were some massive leaks from Nintendo. I don't know a whole lot about this, so I don't really want to get too in depth with it because I probably will just say something that doesn't make any sense. But this is coming from Switcher.gg, and it's been all over the internet. There has been a massive Nintendo Giga leak, they're calling it. Surfaces with ROMs, canceled games, and much, much more. Basically, I don't know how this came about. I don't know who found this, but someone, I don't know if it was a hack or if it was just a straight up leak, but a bunch of source code for previously released Nintendo games was released or leaked. And these are really old games. These are games like Super Mario RPG, Star Fox, Link's Awakening, Yoshi's Island, Mario Kart, like the original Mario Kart. So there's like even some official emulators that were leaked, the source code for it. Really, really interesting. There was also a bunch of prototypes. There was like a Super Mario Kart prototype that was leaked. Let's see. There was, I think, a Donkey Kong prototype that was leaked. 7 early 1990s tape backups. Just all kinds of stuff that was leaked. Really interesting stuff. There was a source code for a Pokemon MMO using the Game Boy Advance was leaked. There was a Super Castlevania 4 prototype. If you're into that kind of stuff, I think it's worth checking out, especially if you're a big Nintendo fan. There's a bunch of videos about this, a bunch of interesting stuff that's going on with that. Speaking of leaks, the next Call of Duty appears to have leaked. And it appears to have leaked off of a Doritos bag. So a lot of times, you know, Call of Duty partners with Doritos and Mountain Dew and all of this stuff to offer double XP and that kind of stuff. So it appears to be called Call of Duty Black Ops Cold War. And it sounds like this is going to be kind of a reboot of the Black Ops series. The original game kind of had flashbacks where it went back to like the Vietnam era, and I think it took place in like the 80s maybe. So I'm interested to find out more about that. It's really weird that we haven't gotten an official Call of Duty announcement yet for this year. Typically those are announced in May, and then we hear more about them in June at E3. But we know that game is coming out this year, probably coming out in October from what it sounds like. Yeah, it looks like it's going to be a reboot of the Black Ops series. Other than that, I think that's pretty much it. Not a lot of big news today or this week. Once again, our question of the week, our question for the podcast, is coming from DeCellis, and once again he says, do you have a favorite game trailer? His was Evil Within 2. I was thinking about this, and I'm sure I'm going to miss a bunch, but I think my pick might be the 2016 E3 reveal of Days Gone. The trailer for that game was fantastic. I didn't actually love the game, but the trailer was just really well done. I really liked the music. The voiceover was really well done. The story that kind of the trailer was telling was really well done. But I'm curious what you guys think. If you guys have any favorite game trailers, let me know. Does anyone in chat have any questions? Any other topics? How's everyone doing? Plan says he's still waiting for the Avatar: The Last Airbender MMORPG that lets you throw rocks on enemies. That's the perfect setup for an MMORPG. Each's favorite trailer would be AC1 because of the soundtrack. Assassin's Creed 1? I'm trying to remember the original Assassin's Creed trailer. I don't remember it. Hi, Celestial Particle. Welcome in. Drunk Possum says, I can't say I watch game trailers at all, but you liked Dragon Age 2's trailer? I don't remember that one either. The original Dead Rising, I remember that one was a really good trailer as well. That one started... It did like a reverse, if you guys remember, where it started out with... Did it do it in reverse, or did they swap it like after a second trailer? But it started out with like the girl, the zombie girl laying down, and then like it started reversing to where she was getting up, and then it showed her with her parents, and like everyone is happy, and the outbreak was slowly happening. I thought that was an interesting one. But yeah, I think that is going to do it for us for this episode. I know this was super short. Next week, we will be back, though. Akko and I will be back, and we'll have our regular scheduled podcast. So I'm going to go ahead and wrap it up here for today. Once again, though, leave us a message, leave us a comment, and let us know what your favorite game trailer is. And until next time, we will see you guys later. Bye, everyone.